Previously, on Meerkat Manor, the Whiskers split into two gangs, and group leader Flower has been left with a tiny band of only 7 faithful followers. Dizzy Daisy has taken command of the remaining 32 Meerkats, who are all being shadowed by Tosca. She's been living on her own for the past 2 weeks after being kicked out of the Whiskers group by her mom, Flower. Meet the Whiskers. Flower, the leader of the group. Zaphod, her partner. Yozarian, with some social problems. Mozart, the caring one. Tosca, the rebellious one. Courageous little Shakespeare. And the naughty kids. Welcome to Meerkat Manor. The Kalahari Desert covers 360,000 square miles of southern Africa. A tiny 3-square-mile patch is home to a group of meerkats known as the Whiskers. Their intricate way of life has been uncovered in a 10-year study by Cambridge University biologists and is being captured 24 hours a day by our cameras. These tiny animals have evolved a strict family code that helps them survive in this harsh, dangerous environment. The leaders, Mom, Flower, and Dad, Zaphod, normally run the gang, but their iron rule is facing a serious challenge. Someone's up early at the Splinter Group's camp. With big responsibilities as the new leader of her 32-strong group, Daisy's first up to make sure there aren't any predators about. In her enthusiasm to do the job properly, she's been known to be a little overzealous, and this morning's proving to be no exception. By the look of it, she's still easily spooked, even by a harmless vegetarian ground squirrel. In her nervous condition, any movement freaks her out. If she's gonna last, she needs to get a grip. From a safe distance, Tosca's been observing Dizzy Daisy's dubious leadership skills. She spent another cold night alone in a nearby burrow. If she decides to try and get back into the group, then Daisy could be a pushover. But, still reeling from the beating she had from Flower, Tosca isn't quite ready to risk another big confrontation. On the other side of the manor, Flower's little band of 8 are already up. With so few of them, they're spending a lot of time looking out for danger. The separation has been a bit of a shock for leader Flower. Having fewer members in the group is proving to be tough, especially for Dudley and Clive, who haven't had a solid meal since the group split. Even with the lack of leadership from Dizzy Daisy, the 32-strong Splinter Group are having a much better time. Dudley and Clive's 2 little sisters, Petra and Mary Pat, have a much more promising outlook than their brothers. Too young to be involved in family politics, they don't seem at all worried about the whereabouts of their siblings or their parents, Flower and Zaphod. And with so many adults, there's always somebody to look out for them. This lucky little pair has 30 helpers. With little effort from the pups, the courses keep on coming. Despite being provided with dozens of food items, Petra's never satisfied. and constantly charges from one foraging adult to another. She's becoming an unbearable brat. Things aren't so easy for the small group, especially its youngest members. But driven by empty stomachs, Dudley and Clive are more determined than ever to find some food. They know that by sticking close to the adults, they have a greater chance of at least getting a few scraps. But because the group is small, the adults have to spend a lot of time on the lookout. It's a fact of life that a quarter of all pups don't make it to be a teenager, which for a meerkat is only 9 months old. With the whole group spending less time foraging, they're all feeling the pinch. For Flower, the lack of food is already starting to show. The saving grace for Dudley and Clive is that they can still be fed milk. Even though she is hungry herself, kind Mozart takes pity on the little pair and gives them a quick feed. She needs to be careful, though, and make sure that she finds enough food for herself. If the adults don't look after themselves, then the new generation doesn't stand a chance. As evening falls, the two groups head back to their separate burrows. Daisy's splinter group is well fed and ready to spend a cozy night together. Eucerian has taken his place at Daisy's side. On the edge of their den, the lonely figure of Tosca appears. She's been tracking Daisy's group, but she still hasn't tried to join them. As night falls, Tosca finds a burrow of her own. It's tough for her being alone. Keeping warm is one of her biggest problems. To make things even more uncomfortable, ticks, fleas, and biting insects will gravitate towards the only warm-blooded animal in the chamber. Worse still, there's no one else to help her defend from predators. Although Tosca's been safe so far, tonight she's got company. This is obviously not the safest burrow to spend the night. She isn't at all happy with her tick-infested home, and with a dangerous snake in her house, she decides it's time to brave the darkness and find a more suitable place to sleep. She's not going to be the only animal above ground tonight, so she needs to be careful. Also leaving their home is a pair of local porcupine. They like to forage under the cool cover of darkness. Unlike meerkats, they're safe in the dark because of their large protective spines. These slow-moving vegetarians aren't a danger to meerkats, but if they're attacked by a predator, they can rush sideways and leave their long spines embedded in the enemy. Only speed and a little luck can keep Tosca safe. After a quick dash across the desert, she finds a new burrow that's much more to her liking and settles in for what's left of the night. After a restless sleep, Tosca gets up early. She's been sidelined from the whiskers for some time, and she's fed up with being on her own. There's been no sign of Flower for days, and Daisy is not proving to be much of a leader. Tosca bites the bullet and makes her move into the group. With just one hip slam, Daisy's a pushover. She was never cut out for the job. Tosca's not only rejoined the group, she's made herself the lady in charge. Daisy seems almost relieved. The small group, led by experienced leader Flower, is getting used to being alone. The gangs have been apart for so long that everyone is learning to cope. Young pup Dudley finally gets lucky. A juicy scorpion is a delicacy, and an encouraging sign that things are starting to turn in favor of Flower's little gang. Clive finally gets a meal too, a small gecko that he's left to eat in peace. After such a long period of separation, it looks like the group split is permanent. Flower is already radio-collared, but Cambridge University biologists need to collar Tosca so they can keep track of her gang's movements. Fitting a radio collar is a quick and painless process. For Tosca, who's spent weeks struggling alone, it's her moment of glory, a rags to riches story. As Tosca rejoins the group, sporting her shiny new necklace, she asserts her dominance by scent marking and gets a warm welcome back. Pregnant Daisy can only watch as everybody submits to their new leader. Mutual grooming reinforces the adults' bonds, and there's a prolonged cuddle with the boss. The juveniles take some time to bond too, with a bit of play fighting. The only thing that interrupts them is a visit from their new queen. For Yossarian, there's a lady in town. He's unrelated to Tosca, and that means there's a good chance he could mate with her. It seems that Flower is just a distant memory. The 32-strong gang have readily accepted the new boss and get ready to spend a warm and cozy night together. For Tosca, at last, life is a bed of roses. Next morning, an all-too-familiar face appears at the burrow. The boss is back in town. It's Flower, and Tosca is in big trouble. Nervous Yossarian heads for the middle ground. They may be mother and daughter, but in this face-off, there will only be one winner. Which leader will the Whiskers follow? If Yossarian can't pick a winner in this battle, then he'll hedge his bets and stay safely in between the two rival queens. If the group follows Flower, then he'll be waiting for a mate once again. But if they follow Tosca, then his bad luck with the ladies could finally take a turn for the better. Flower heads for the rest of her small group who are close by. Tosca's group of 32 follow, tails raised, kicking up their back legs in a war dance. They finally find Flower with her little gang, and the large group charges straight towards her. When the two gangs finally meet, there's no bloodshed. They are, after all, part of the same family, and they're just happy to be reunited again. But it's not over yet. One of their leaders is going to have to stand down. Will it be Tosca, or will it be Flower? As the fight begins, Flower takes the first lunge at her daughter. Tosca is easily overpowered. Beaten once again by her bigger and more experienced mom, she makes a run for it. This could be the last time she's allowed into the family. She's had a taste of being leader, but now she's almost certainly been banished for good. And because lone females can never join other Meerkat groups, her future looks extremely bleak. Just keeping herself alive will be a monumental struggle. Flower is soon back in charge, and the Whiskers are quick to take some time to submit to the boss. She scent marks everyone. Zaphod is still by her side, and he's going to be the only male in the group that will have mating rights. Yossarian accepts defeat and keeps on his brother's good side. He lies on his side and allows Zaphod to scent mark him. It might not be graceful, but it shows that he's giving in. Flower's getting lots of attention. The entire gang is keen to make a fuss of her with some grooming. Her youngest pups, Dudley, Clive, Petra, and Mary Pat, have kept out of harm's way, too. They're none the worse for wear, and after being apart for so long, they play fight as if nothing ever happened. But it's been a long day. They're all tired, and for Dudley, it's all been very taxing. At least now, the outlook for him and his brother Clive is rosy. As the afternoon draws on, mother-to-be Daisy is counting her blessings. She's had the luckiest escape of all. It appears that her short reign finished at just the right moment. But now, Daisy is facing a new problem. With all the trouble Flower's had with her other wayward daughters, Tosca and Mozart, and with the size of the gang being so hard to control, when Daisy's new offspring arrive, they may well have to be eliminated by Granny Flower. Next time on Meerkat Manor, it's time for Daisy to give birth. But will she pay a heavy penalty for her liaisons with Carlos?